Oh, we must be live now.
That we are, baby.
We got Mark Goldstein on for the look back. Mark, welcome.
It's my pleasure.
How have you been? Where do I find you today?
You find me in Tiburon, right on the water in Tiburon, but 15 minutes from the city, the
Yeah,
usual. We're in
you've
county.
been you've been docked there for a while.
Yep. Just keep me in the water. Keeps me happy.
I'm not surprised you love it. I'm just surprised they keep renewing your lease there. It's that's the more surprising element.
Now, well, I'll be BK'd out of here at some point, but it's spend it while you got it.
I like your approach. And life is treating you well.
It's all good. It's all
What do
good.
you, Mark? As I will joke. I haven't done a lot of research for this. I mean, I'm going to tell you a story though that I still remember fondly. Back in the '80s, when I met this scrawny kid out of Philadelphia who asked to meet with me as a young reporter back at CRN, and you were shoveling some finance software. I want to say Reality.
That's it, baby. You got it.
It's like I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, but I can remember. I
Yeah.
can remember that. Tell me what, how did that all come about? I mean, that was your start into the software world, right?
Yeah, well, what happened is, earlier I worked for Apple for 2 years, and after 2 years at Apple, I decided the company was getting too big for me, and this was when Apple was still small. Um, but couldn't really get anyone else to fund me, so I got some professors from Wharton, where I went to school, to fund me and my buddy, and we spent 7 years figuring out a business based in Philadelphia, New York, and some of it out here, and we started in online gaming, pivoted to basically business simulations. From there, we pivoted to finance, and then we sold the company to Reuters Thompson. It was sort of E-Trade before the internet at the end of the day. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's funny. As I mentioned to you, I do this interview with innovators and entrepreneurs and investors. So glad to have you on. You've always been one of my favorite people to keep an eye on and talk to. And it's funny that I look up the word entrepreneur and there's your picture. It was right there
Where? Like that was like what, in the 80s? That was like,
in the dictionary. No, I remember the term serial entrepreneur, and when I
yeah.
think of that word, you're one of the first faces that pop into my mind.
Well, no, that was, well, you know what it is? I actually am, there it is on my wall. It's this article in Business 2.0,
Yeah,
which is there it is, serial entrepreneurship. And I was like that, early days, I was that I was that guy, that I just said here. My quote was, entrepreneurs are like wine, we get better, not worse.
mm.
And we get worse.
It's all in a cycle, right?
Yeah.
That's fantastic, though. You're talking about the days of box software, and then you got super involved in 1.0. You did some exciting companies there. Take me through some of the gaps in what
Yeah,
I'm.
yeah. So from there was started with box software, running around and selling to Egghead. After that, we this thing there was a service called Prodigy, and we built all the systems on Prodigy. We built their online games, online financial services, and we
Remember that.
said, oh, this Prodigy thing is pretty cool. So early, we were sort of internet before internet. We were doing online services. We had our own online service. At one point, we had the largest investment service online for individual investors. That's what we sold to Reuters Thompson. After that, moved out here, and I just started doing internet companies because this internet thing happened. And 7 or 8 or so companies, e-commerce, analytics, green tech. I just found stuff that just turned me on.
And you're still doing it. So I know you're involved also in the biotech or medical space. You have the digital health awards there in the background, but you've been doing that for years. We talked about that, in my NASDAQ days. That was super fun. And I also thought, a great area, but how did you get into that? What was your step into, yeah, that all.
Well, yeah, about 10 years ago, two things. So 10 years ago, I ended up, spent a few years making my friend Mark Benioff's private investments. And one of the things I realized real quickly is he was really into healthcare, and I didn't know anything about healthcare.
I thought you were going to say he's not going to make it. I got to go find something else.
Yeah, no, he did okay. And so I'm like, shit, I better learn about this stuff. But I'm not a doctor and I'm not a chemist. But I decided, this whole healthcare thing is really fascinating when you look at the internet smacks into healthcare, which is exactly what digital health is all about. I said, I can do this. So I just said, let's just embrace it. And then I started an innovation center at UCSF. And the reason I did that is because that's where the smartest people in healthcare hang out. They are at UCSF, and I wanted to hang out with these guys and learn from them. Lo and behold, it's been a decade or so, and we've evolved the organization. It's a nonprofit. It's called the Digital Health Hub Foundation, and we run what's really the Oscars of healthcare. So we give out the awards to the best digital health, digital therapeutic, those companies that are changing the face of healthcare, and thousands of companies, and it's become a big event. We do it in Las Vegas every year.
You moved to Vegas, huh?
Hell no, I'm not moving to Vegas. I'll go to
Well,
Vegas. You can go to, the Vegas deal. 2
yeah,
days, 2.5 days at most. Get the hell out.
You don't even have time to change your khakis. So I like the idea of moving into healthcare. Do you think it's more about replacing what government can't do in healthcare, or is it as an investment platform to find, hot companies and new trends and things like that?
Well, healthcare is pretty broken, and it's 24% of our GMP. So it's the biggest industry by far. A disproportionate amount of money goes into it, and a ton of it is wasted. Like an incredible amount is wasted. My first company was in finance and fintech, and we said it tried to replace stockbrokers. In this case, we don't want to replace doctors, but we want to augment them and help them, so that they basically are, really can focus on why they want to be a doctor, focus on solving the problems, and have technology basically address what we call triage, address the 80% of the stuff that you don't need a doctor for. You can use some time.
What also is fascinating is what's going on with prescription drugs. I mean, I know it's just a slice of what you're talking about and not even central perhaps, but what Mark Cuban and what Amazon is doing, and again, private industry and entrepreneurship taking over and taking a page out of what government couldn't do. They're trying to, but
well, yeah. I mean, look, that became the second largest industry in India, which is basically, generics. So generic drug subscription, there's so much opportunity. I mean, you're getting farmers getting $10,000-$15,000 a pill now for some products, right? So, there's opportunities to have some version of something that's a hell of a lot less.
And look, you and I are getting a little older, so we're taking more and more meds ourselves probably. We have to figure out.
Well, you mentioned that part too, and I wasn't going to go there, but with you, I'll go anywhere. And it's interesting when you're younger. You go to a party and you're sort of talking about where the next party is going to be. You're talking about what beer makes sense, what tequila you want to drink. You get older, you start talking about girls, and you start talking about who you're going to marry and wives and kids, and you get into the kids and the teams thing. You start getting older. What the hell you start talking about? You start talking about your freaking health.
Yeah. So well, that and pickleball. What are they?
And pickleball until you right. Well, of course, and pickleball until you break down your knees. And but no, the whole idea of look, health is interesting. It's topical and it's ever changing. And I just decided embrace it and help figure this stuff out.
Yeah, I started looking at it too as parenthetical to what I was doing, and I just can't learn it fast enough. There's just so much going on. I don't know how you do it. But is that full time for you, or are you still involved in the VC firm?
Yeah, no, I'm a VC by day and run the nonprofit by night.
Okay.
That's I got to keep the lights on. So I've made 100 or so health related investments in the last 7 or 8 years, and I've done my usual angel stuff after I starting the company. But now I'm also incubating 2 or 3 companies too.
Are these your concepts, or where somebody pulled you in and said, Mark, help me keep this thing on the rails, or help me get it on the rails?
You know me well, my friend. It is the latter.
Yeah.
No, it's when you're you start looking at 60 and you're getting older, you're in your 50s, you're like, I can't have all the ideas anymore. It's like when you're younger, you figure, I got all the ideas. I don't know, screw everyone else. So I've really hooked up with some amazing people, entrepreneurs in their late 20s, early 30s, and I'm basically helping them, either as the chairman of the board or temporarily CEO or whatever, to get them to that, really that first level. And that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
So what do you find, Mark? You've met with a million entrepreneurs over your life. What are they missing? What are they typically not seeing that you constantly are trying to reaffirm?
Well, what I just say is my job is to help them avoid the arrows that are still sticking out of my back.
Yeah.
And if I could only repeat, if I could only be that person, if I can only have the wisdom of today and basically the drive of yesterday, be a fucking rock star. And so, that's, the answer is they're not missing anything, but I want to basically just have them not make some of the mistakes I made. And that's really it. So if I can help them avoid making mistakes and share some of that, that learning that I learned the hard freaking way, awesome. Yeah.
And does that go from everything from setting a valuation and raising money all the way through the operating plan of do this for sales, do this for marketing, do this for product?
It goes for, it's all a lot of that. Most important thing is people. Who are you going to hire? Who are you going to be? How do you want to basically project yourself in front of that first customer? How your attitude? What do you have to do? Hiring and firing. It's all about, the only great companies are the ones that can really figure out how to execute. And so ones that can execute are the ones that can basically, grow and scale and add great people.
So give me a thought today about a entrepreneur. Part of me feels like you were just born to start companies, Mark. You were such an entrepreneur and always like, okay, it's getting too big. I got to go do something else. And then you have another idea. Then you're halfway through incubating one idea and you get another idea. I mean, is it genetic to a certain extent, or is it just in the water that you're drinking, constantly doing a startup and meeting with other startups? How does that evolve, and how do you find that? Because it's about people, so you're looking for certain traits in people that you're meeting with.
Yeah, it's well, there's no question I've got a little ADHD in me, right? And now it's super common for just about every entrepreneur to say, yeah, I've got ADHD, I got ADHD. I didn't even know I don't think we all knew what that was, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So yes, we're impatient. Yes, we want to impact change. Yes, we get bored. All those things. Now, society is basically creating a lot more people like that today. And maybe that's because of the internet. Maybe it's because of our, basically our attention spans have shrunk. We've all read about this. So I think people are better equipped, but also things are moving a lot more quickly. You can't organically grow stuff the way you used to in the past, unless you're a farmer. So, I think that's part one, is that I like this stuff. It was always natural for me, but I think there are a few million other people that are, not too different from me.
Right. Well, you know what they say, boring is dangerous. Busy is good.
No, it's just, every day I wake up and I have, I like getting into new industries, and I've been in 5 or 6 industries over my career, and it just is like really just I'm a curious motherfucker. And I just
so let's go there for a second. I know we could go into all kinds of stuff in the healthcare, but we're living in a world where AI is now taken over, right? So we went from metaverse to blockchain to VR and your crypto and all that stuff. But AI seems to have much broader and deeper roots to it. Am I right? And what are you looking at when you see that? Because a lot of those industries you just mentioned and that you played in would probably be looking for ways to disrupt themselves.
Well, AI definitely makes stuff a lot better, right? I think all the things that we used to do in the days of packaged software and whatnot, we were talking about AI back then. I mean, I remember I went at Princeton, I hung out with Marvin Minsky. He's like the AI dude, right? I mean, it's going way back. I don't really tell how many people that, but I'll tell you, Keith. So, what is it? It's just AI just makes shit better.
Right.
Honestly. So many of us have really great ideas and things we want to bring to market and how we want to change the world and all that good stuff. But, with AI, we can do it better. And you know what? In a world where everything is collapsing and it's getting smaller by day, and we're competing with a gazillion Chinese that are trying to, basically chomp us, the AI can be your friend if you harness it, because you have to be great and it helps you be great.
So by way of introducing me again to the VC firm you're working with or some of your cool investments, take me through some things you're involved in.
Okay, well, let's see. I will start. The firm is called Builder. Firm I'm with is it's called Builders, and I've got a few investments I'm particularly excited about. One of which is had a board meeting 15 minutes ago. It's called Graphware, and Graphware is basically trying to displace Dexcom and other if those folks that have diabetes know all about glucose monitoring. They are building a next generation glucose monitoring system with really innovative technology. So there's no prick, and it's faster and it's better and all that good stuff. So that's Graphware. And that's an example of one of the diagnostic companies. Another diagnostic company is called Bina, Israeli company that basically you look into your phone, and in 15 seconds it basically tells you what your blood pressure is, right? So you don't have to wear a cuff. So got a lot of stuff like that.
Is that available today?
It is available today. It's not FDA approved, but it freaking works. So, you can go on and download it, and you don't need to run around with cuffs.
I don't have to go to Marin County to get my blood pressure. I can.
You can stay away, but if you come here, I'll get it up for you.
Okay. Well, that's phenomenal. Those are two great examples. And Builder has a certain theme to it, right?
Yeah. So what the focus is, we're just historically it was basically focusing on old industries, old problems, and basically entrepreneurs that were basically taking a hammer to solving the old problem.
Right.
Increasingly, my focus is just really on health and wellness and food. And, and I've decided that that's big enough. And, it's fascinating. And what's this? So here's it's hard to see right there, the background. Yeah. There it is. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It is a toothbrush. Now, you'd say, oh man, now I'm in the dental business. Well, this is a product called Tromots. It's really cool. It's basically an electromechanical light that's below the brush, and it basically blows away the plaque in your mouth while you're brushing.
Wow.
So there's innovation everywhere. I never thought there'd be this, and this is a Korean company. We never thought there'd be innovation in toothbrushes, but there's innovation everywhere. Just blow it up.
Right. I am constantly astounded when I go to events. I think everything's been invented before, and then there's a new wave of things. And none of what you mentioned was really AI related even.
Yeah, I'm not doing stuff. Yeah. I'm focusing on, really patient or consumer or products that really get to all of us, to our parents, to our kids, that we can touch and feel. I'm into that.
I love the transition there too, because I was going to ask you, besides how the family is on a personal level, as a parent of two, right? 2 or 3?
3.
Congrats. I know they're awesome. I see your pictures out there, amazing kids. But as you start to, be the parent of potential future entrepreneurs, what are you encouraging them from an academic standpoint, besides to, do well, but what are you encouraging them to explore, and what kind of areas do you sort of not direct, but again, support?
I just, basically the thing is just get the hell out there, experience as much as you can, touch as a variety of new industries, get on the internet, think it through, and just really, as we all know, before we're 25, we should try a lot of things.
And what does that translate into, Mark, for kids in college, like internships and part-time jobs? Or
for sure. I mean, that's the way. Like when I was at school, I mean, I don't even remember how much I went to class. I just worked. When I was in Philadelphia, I had like 3 or 4 jobs all the time. And I learned everything from these mentors and these entrepreneurs, and some of them are rock stars. Some of them ended up funding in businesses. So it was just like, I'm a huge fan of the whole mentoring concept. And the whole idea is find someone that you can learn something from, get really close to them, make sure you can give something. It's got to be give to get. Make sure you can give them something that they also want. Learn from them. And it's much better than traditional learning.
So are the kids, I mean, there are different kinds of learning, right? So there are people that learn through experience, and I'm very much the same way as you described. I was doing all kinds of different things through school and tried to make it to class once in a while. But other people really, more intellectualized and feel like they learn from books and experiments that they manage in a controlled environment. Are you encouraging them to take certain classes? Is it, or is there a school of thought that says I don't need to invest that much into a prestigious university or graduate programs and things like that? There seems to be somewhat of a divide right now, a debate going on. How do
Yeah,
you?
no, I'm a fan of the school, a good school, because I think you go to a good school, you meet little other smart people, right? And everything is about collaboration. You know, it's like I'm not a rock star engineer, and I've always tried to associate with folks that are. And and they need to associate with people that are marketing people, that are ops people, that are basically, really good, business law people, whatever it might be. And you're going to meet more of those people at a great school. You got to get out of your hometown. You certainly can't sit in front of a freaking computer all day long and think you're going to, learn and meet people. You got to, got to get out there and hang out with them.
Okay, I keep throwing you these wingnut questions because you keep throwing my mind in different directions. But one of the things for a startup company, what's the hardest thing to do? Find a co-founder or raise a seed round?
Oh, it's definitely find the co-founder.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the seed round is like, you know, raising a seed round actually isn't that hard. Raising your later stage money is a lot harder. So there are a lot of people out there that basically will invest in ideas and dreams. And there are far fewer people that will invest in basically something that's more mature that you have to say, show me the money or show me that you have a business.
Show me the $1 billion valuation plus.
Yeah. And so it's all comes down to the people and who you associate with, and pick a few winners. And I've kissed a lot of frogs, and regrettably, I've selected sometimes the wrong frogs. I'll be the first to admit it. I
You
picked
love them and leave them. That's okay.
Yeah, well, it depends. If you want to love them and leave them, but before you take somebody else's money, or before you go down the road, before you've hired a lot of people based on the fact that, you've claimed to them you have a really good management team and you don't, there's a lot of, so it's all comes down to answering your question, it's the founders.
Yeah. What's the best way to find a good collaborator?
It's getting out there, first of all.
Yeah.
It's getting out there, and it's finding people with like-minded interests, finding people that are within your age range, finding people that are just like into the same shit you're into.
And that's some fantastic advice, Mark. So other advice that you like to give to the entrepreneur who you don't have time to do all the calls and briefings that you'd like to do because you're so flippin' busy, but I get to share this with a few thousand entrepreneurs and startup companies. What kind of advice can you share?
Oh, well, let's see. Number one is I'll start with that word of being curious, and don't accept so always, get into something, be really curious, and fundamentally understand your competitive grid. Get in there and understand if you think you have an industry or a sector or a product that you want to bring to market, please spend the next month really looking at what else is out there. Don't just say, oh, I'm just going to build this and be blind. You can learn so much on the internet from so many sources. So there's two things: curious, do your freaking research on your competitive grid. Third of which is focus on 3-month milestones. And this is have a great V2 mom. Know always what your milestone is. Always check in with your milestones. Know where you need to be doing in 3 months, 6 months, and 9 months. It doesn't matter what's past that next 9 months. It really doesn't, until it does. And then when it does, you have a management team, and you're not necessarily the one that's uniquely worrying about it.
That's great. Awesome stuff. What are you doing for fun these days?
Same shit I've always been doing, my man. It's just getting.
Does that mean you're going to be in the Formula One race in Vegas?
No, I'm not Mark Kwame. No, I'm that stuff I've never done. I basically I'm out on the water. I'm doing whatever it is. I'm in the water, out on the water, on top of the water.
There could be a lot of snow this year too.
Yeah, no, I'll be up there. And if I, as long as my body cooperates, I better, have more than 40 days a year.
Yeah.
And that's nothing's changed. I just try and keeping it going, my man. Keeping it going.
You sounds great, Mark. I wish you all the best, and thanks for spending a few minutes here with me in this pod, which again just came out of COVID and that, need to connect, the need to share and communicate and all that stuff. And glad to reconnect.
I got a lot of Keith movement stories, and I'll save them for another day. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.